Welcome to episode 9 of SWF The Aftermath. On this episode, we are on the fallout from SWF's second pay-per-view of the series, Nothing to Lose. Pay-per-view that ended with Eisen retaining the SWF World Heavyweight Championship after the lights went out and Vengeance was seen laying in the ring, and Eisen crawled over to him and put his arm over him for the 3 count. So, let's get on to this show. So we start out, Eisen comes out to the ring and he's bragging, he's cocky, he just retained his title. He goes, nobody gave me a chance. Nobody said I could do it. I beat Vengeance. I've beaten Angry Gilmore, I've beaten Remo, and I've beaten Rogue. I've beaten everybody that's been thrown in front of me. Why you all still doubt me and don't think that I'm capable of defending this title is beyond me. And at that moment, Gilmore, Remo, and Rogue come out basically in unison. And they all start to walk down towards the ring like they're about to beat the shit out of Eisen. They all slide into the ring. Eisen takes a powder out the backside. And then Jerry Eisen comes out to the top of the entrance ramp. Alright, everybody calm down. I'm through with this chaos on my show. All of y'all want to fight? I'll have news tonight at the close of the show. We're going to get this thing situated and solved. Now we have Steven Parker versus Sammy Smoke in a 63C. Steven Parker defeats Sammy Smoke in 7:22 by pinfall with a future shock. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Steven Parker is not suited to his gimmick. Note to self. This is just to get these two on TV. I don't think I've used either one of them in quite a while. Kind of thinking of some plans for Steven Parker to get him involved a little bit in the mid card. Sammy Smoke, I do have plans for. The face turn is a part of those plans. I'm just waiting for the time to reintroduce him, so to speak. But not much that I want to come out of this match. Just like I said, to get both of them on TV. Steven Parker picks up the win. Alright, now we have Jenny Playmate interviewing Valiant. She's asking Valiant about Brandon James, and as soon as Valiant opens his mouth, Paul Hernandez comes out from behind and assaults Valiant, throws him into the wall, and just starts putting the boots on him, picks him up, throws him into a barrel drum, and just stomping the shit out of him, picks up a barrel drum, slams it down on him repeatedly until it looks like Valiant is laying there broken and lifeless. And Jenny Playmate's just staring as this all happens. And then we hear the sound of high heels approaching the microphone. Just then the camera pans back to the interview area, and we see Emma Chase staring at Paul Hernandez and the lifeless Valiant. And then Jenny turns around to see Emma to her surprise. And Emma looks at Jenny and just kind of smiles and walks over to Paul, and then they walk off. So we see Paul Hernandez reunite with Emma Chase. Now we have the Awesomeness versus the Southern Comfort. Awesomeness pick up the win here in a 69C plus and 847. Stardust pins Cobb with a shock and awe. Actually performed pretty well with 68 and 65 respectively. This is to get the Awesomeness back on the winning track after losing their titles just a few days ago. Kind of want to build them back up. I don't want them limping into a potential rematch or another potential feud. But seeing as how they assaulted the Bumfholes immediately after losing their titles, it's kind of understood that the Bumfholes are probably going to want another piece of the Awesomeness for retribution and whatnot. Here we see Jerry Eisen in his office, and Joey Morgan and Brandon James walk in. Chrissy Angel is behind Brandon James, and Eisen goes, I'm sure you two are wondering why I've called you into my office. If you happen to see the opening segment of the show, I told everybody that at the end of the show, there will be an announcement as far as the world title and what's going to happen going forward. The reason you two are here is you two will be facing off in the main event tonight, and the winner will be involved in that match at Awesome Impact. So Joey Morgan and Brandon James eye each other up, nod up and down, and then they leave the office of Jerry Eisen. Oh yeah, gimmick change. That's right. So now he is a cocky babyface, kind of like an old school Shawn Michaels. Got an initial rating of great. That's good. Alright, on to the next segment. We see Jimmy Hernandez versus Justin Sensitive. In a 60C, Hernandez picks up the win in 625 by pinfall. With an apparition number 14. Not sure what the fuck that is. I will have to look at the Wrestling Spirit database and see. I can't even draw. No idea what the hell that would be. This is kind of a little bit of a fast-paced match, kind of a high spots match. Hernandez and Sensitive are just going at it back and forth. Jimmy controls much of the matches, as he's significantly higher on the card than Justin Sensitive is. At this point, I don't see Sensitive as much more than a job guy. Pretty good job guy, but still, as I've mentioned numerous times, we're giving Hernandez a bit of a slow push. Want to freshen up the main event scene a little bit, and the top of the card is doesn't have a whole lot of baby faces. So Hernandez picks up the short victory here. We'll move into our next segment, which is backstage. Brandon James is telling Chrissy Angel, look, you get one more chance. You screwed me out of my victory against Valiant. You're not going to screw me again. Now we have Robbie Retro. He's in the ring. He's doing his little disco stud routine. Moving his arm from his hip up to the air, back to the hip, back to the air. Just kind of doing some very retro style dancing. You get it? Get it? No? Oh, fuck me. Hollywood Bret Star comes out, and he immediately walks past him, a shoulder bump, kinda. He grabs a microphone. So this is why nobody takes Hollywood Bret Star serious. They take a clown like you serious, a clown who hasn't won a match here. When the hell have you won a match? Who cares? I'm the champion. This is my ring, and this is my time. You're the reason I'm not getting time on this show. You're the reason that nobody cares about Hollywood Bret Star. You know what? And then he drops the microphone and he runs and he clocks him with the title belt. Starts beating his ass. Then we go to a commercial break. Just imagine a commercial break. Alright, when we come back from the commercial break, they got a little match going on. How's that for some WWE booking for you? Hollywood Bret Star picks up the win in a 68C plus and 726 by pinfall with a Hollywood hammer. Hollywood got the upper hand, of course, early in the match due to his, I guess, pre-match assault, you could call it. Robbie Retro, being the significantly larger of the two, gained some momentum in the middle stages, utilizing his power and his size. Throws Bret Star into a corner, hits him with a couple of elbows, some high knees, and just throws him around like a rag doll. The referee goes to check on Hollywood Bret Star, and Hollywood uses that to get him a cheap shot. Maybe a Retro goes to pick him up over the referee, and Hollywood hits him with an eye poke. And then he gets back on top and starts working him down a little bit and hits his finish for the pinfall victory. Alright. Now we have Mikey Lao and Killswitch in the ring. And they're talking about what happened at Nothing to Lose. Mikey was supposed to be fighting Monty. And then Monty basically was playing games with him the entire time. The Panda Lions attacked Mikey from behind. And then Killswitch Frankie Perez made his SWF debut to save Mikey. The two brawled back and forth, and the segment ended at the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view segment ended with Monty and the Pain Alliance retreating while they were mouthing off with the Cali Dragons who were in the ring. So kind of the video package of that shows, and Mikey begins to talk, introducing the SWF fans to his tag team partner and one of his best friends in the business, Killswitch Frankie Perez. Monty comes down to the ring. Well, not to the ring because, you know, he's a little bitch. He comes down the ramp and he starts mouthing off about Mikey, mouthing off about Frankie, saying that he doesn't belong. This is where the big kids come to play, and Frankie needs to go back to Japan or go back to California or wherever the hell he's been scrounging by for the last couple of years. Meanwhile, Monty has been making it big, not only in this company, but he's made millions on the stock market, and everybody knows it. And just then, the Pain Alliance come through the back, but Mikey and Frankie were kind of ready for it because Mikey's a smart guy. He kind of knows what Monty's going to do, and he smartened Frankie Perez up prior to this. So as soon as the Pain Alliance slid in, it was almost like the Cali Dragons had a sixth sense. They turn around and the two just start brawling. Just some punches, some heavy punches, some kicks. They get Mikey down and start isolating Killswitch over in a corner, and then Mikey comes in like the roaring dragon that he is and just starts chopping him down with those vicious kicks. And the Pain Alliance quickly retreat back up to the ramp. So it kind of ends the same way that the pay-per-view segment did, but you get the sense that the Pain Alliance and Monty Trescott are going to kind of have to go back to the drawing board. As brutish and as brawling oriented as the Pain Alliance are, Mikey Lao is just an expert martial artist, and when it comes to a brawling contest with hands and fists, Mikey's not going to lose a whole lot of those fights, whether it's one-on-one or in this situation, in a way, kind of two-on-one once they isolated Killswitch and started working him over. Here we have the Crippler versus the American Machine. The Crippler gets a pinfall victory in 8:16 with the Tombstone Pile Driver for an 81B. Crippler technically won the match at Awesome Impact, but just kind of how I like to do. The way that I perceived that match going was Jack Bruce basically just beat the bloody hell out of the Crippler. He was not trying to win the match, he was trying to maim the Crippler. So in my mind, the Crippler came out of that match despite winning. The Crippler looked a little bit underwhelming, a little bit weak, almost as if he didn't belong with Jack Bruce. So I just kind of want to get him a showcase victory here over American Machine. This again, a significantly larger guy. The Crippler's got a good size, but I believe he's a middleweight. American Machine is a heavyweight. So 2 weight classes above, so the size difference is pretty obvious to the crowd and the audience watching at home. And Crippler, kind of just being the technical guy that he is, he starts working over the neck area and that upper back, kind of softening him up for the tombstone, some clubbing blows to the back. Maybe old school, old fashioned headlock, just goes to some kind of some 70s and some 80s mat based grappling, grabbing a hold or whatever, just weakening up that neck to set him up for the tombstone and the 1-2-3. Backstage, Jack Bruce was watching this match on a monitor. Jenny Playmate comes up behind him. Jack, we saw what you did at Nothing to Lose, and you could have won that match on numerous occasions. What are your thoughts? Why didn't you go for the pinfall? Why didn't you try to escape the cage? And Bruce doesn't take his eye off of the Crippler on the monitor for more than a couple of seconds, and that's just to look Jenny up and down as if to say, who the hell are you to question my motives? Who the hell are you to question Jack fucking Bruce? And then Bruce looks back at the monitor, kind of scoffs a little bit, shakes his head very slightly, and then just slowly walks off with this cold look on his face, almost as if to say, I've got you right where I want you, Crippler. And then on our main event of the evening, In a 76B-, Joey Morgan and Brandon James have a very underwhelming main event according to the rating. But Joey Morgan defeats Brandon James in 17:45 by pinfall. Man, I really wish you could put in some text on these. After Chrissy interfered. Okay, so the finish was a tainted finish, but it wasn't tainted from the standpoint where Joey Morgan had to pull the tights of Brandon James. It was tainted kind of in the sense of the ending to the pay-per-view match between Brandon James and Valiant, where James is doing very good on his own, taking it to the opponent of his. And then at the end, Chrissy Angel gets up on the ring apron to try to cause a distraction, and it backfires. Morgan goes to hit the ropes or whatever, and bumps into Chrissy, knocks her into the barricade. And then Brandon James is going to check on her and turns around right into the finish again. So Morgan picks up the victory here. A good showing from both guys, kind of a 50-50 match. And then we see Brandon James and Chrissy post-match. James is kind of shouting at Chrissy Angel again. And then kind of walks off and leaves her laying. Doesn't attempt to help her up or anything. And then we see Jerry Eisen come out to announce the main event for Awesome Impact. He just comes to the top of the ring apron after Brandon James leaves and Joey Morgan is celebrating. He says, "I've been thinking to myself, Eric wants to keep up with all of these shenanigans. I'm sick of it. He's not a good champion. The way that he's carrying himself in that title disgusts me. So I've been looking around. I've been reading the sheets. I've been scouring the internet for a type of match where Eric will actually have to defend his title. And I figured it out. So Joey Morgan, congratulations. You are in the main event of Awesome Impact, along with the 4 men that Eric Eisen has screwed over the last 2 months, month and a half, whatever. Vengeance, Angry Gilmore, Remo, Rogue, and now you, Joey Morgan. All 5 of you will face Eric Eisen at Awesome Impact in an elimination chamber." That's it. The show gets a 78B. Leave a comment, like the video, let me know what you thought. That's all.